and the message will be delivered effectively. According to a famous psychologist, Albert Mehrabian, there are basically three ways of communication process, mainly the visuals, voice, and the verbal communication. Visuals over here basically refer to all non-verbal kind of communication, which will include the body language, the facial expressions, eye contact, the way we present ourselves, etc. while communicating. Voice basically refers to the tone of voice, the intonation, the modulation, the punctuation, and the pronunciation. Verbal basically refers to the actual words that we utilize in any sort of communication. So, according to Mehrabian's research, there is a particular weightage and importance given to these three aspects of communication. The first aspect being the most important one, according to his studies, is the visuals, that is, the non-verbal signals or the non-verbal communication which comes to picture. The second most important is the voice, the tone of voice, which has 38% of weightage, and the actual words, which we think is the most important part of any sort of communication, but that has only 7% of weightage. To ensure that we understand this research properly, let me give you an example. If in case I'm working in an office environment and there is a function which is happening, an annual day or suppose a celebration of any festival in our office, and everybody is supposed to wear some traditional wear. My colleague is wearing a very beautiful sari. I find that she's looking very beautiful in that sari, and I want to compliment her. In this situation, if I find her somewhere around me, I approach her and I go and compliment her. While complimenting her, I will be using a particular sentence. While complimenting her, if I say that you're looking very beautiful today, the sari is very pretty. If my tone of voice, my body language, and the words which I am using are matching with each other, then this message has a positive impact and a different meaning. With this genuinely means that I want to compliment my colleague. And in another example, if in case I want to compliment this colleague, but I'm not very happy with the beautiful sari that she's wearing. Of course, the normal psychology of jealousy. I do like her sari, but then I don't have the one that she's wearing. And I'm not happy with the fact that I'm not looking as beautiful as she's looking. So, the same compliment while giving, if I say this, you're wearing a beautiful sari and you're looking very pretty today. How does this sound? And along with this, if my body language is not very much interested in complimenting her, if I don't maintain the eye contact, if I don't have the pleasant facial expressions along with this all communication, this obviously indicate that this was a very sarcastic comment which was I trying to pass. Though I wanted to compliment, but it wasn't a genuine compliment at all. So this explains how non-verbal communication, the tone of voice, and the verbal communication has different sort of weightage, and why non-verbal communication is the most important according to Mehrabian. Well, there are some most common ways that we use to communicate. Few to mention are the spoken words, the verbal communication, the written word. In our professional lives, it is not only limited to talking or the meetings. Of course, the letters, the emails, memos are all come under the written words. The visual images, the photographs, the magazines, etc., and the body language, the non-verbal language. We will be discussing this in detail later on. So, mainly there are two types of communications, verbal and non-verbal. When we talk about verbal communication, everything that is being used with words, for example, face to face discussions, interviews, presentations, telephone conversations, voice messages, video conferences, all these are part of the verbal communication. The second type, that is the non-verbal communication. In this type of communication, there are no words which are used, but we do communicate through our gestures, our postures, facial expressions, eye contact, the way we dress up, the way our body language is, the way we present ourselves, etc. Well, the gestures and postures over here are particularly posture basically refers to the way we stand, the way we sit. Gesture basically refers to the movements of our hands. In nonverbal communication, written communication also is a part of it. So, all forms of written communication, those are your emails, letters, fax, SMSs, magazines, books, newspaper, internet, blogs, websites, are part of written communication. In written communication, there are no actual words which have been heard by the sender, but these words are being communicated in a nonverbal manner. Hence, mainly communication is divided under these two types, which all forms of communications are covered. In today's technologically advanced world, we majorly utilize the nonverbal communication channels while interacting on a personal level. For example, the massive usage of the social media sites, that is your WhatsApp, Facebook, Viber, Twitter, etc. Also, in a professional world, most of the communication takes place in the form of emails, memos, etc. We're going to discuss about hearing versus listening. Well, the most important aspect of communication is active listening. Hearing and listening are two different things. Hearing refers to only hearing something out or hearing someone out, which is the physical process. It is natural and it is passive. Wherein listening is not only a physical process where you're only hearing someone out, it is a mental process where you're actively listening and it is a skill as well. To give an example, when I'm hearing someone, I have different thoughts in my mind. I'm really not bothered about what the other person has to say or tell me. All my concern is when that person finishes his line, what I'm going to say next. That is why I'm not listening to him, I'm just hearing him out. Wherein active listening actually means that you're listening to all the words that is being said by the speaker. You're trying to analyze them in your mind and simultaneously you're trying to understand their point of view empathetically. So it is very important to realize that listening is not only showing or pretending that you are paying attention to somebody's talks or somebody's words, but trying to gauge the kind of tone, the kind of body language, or the kind of expression other person is using, and trying to analyze the message, trying to interpret the message he's trying to convey us. Body language. Well, the most important part of communication, according to Mehrabian, the 55% of weightage which has been given to body language. The most communication is done when we are not speaking. Our body movement, our language, and our vocal delivery are very crucial factors. And it has been said that to be an effective communicator, you must be able to read the body language of your receiver and the environment and adapt your message accordingly. Well, when we talk about body language, it tells us that interact a lot when we are not talking. Why do we consider dressing up appropriately? Why do we consider grooming in a particular way? Because the way we stand, the way we use our gestures, our hand movement, the way we try to maintain the eye contact with other person actually portray the professional image of ourselves. All these factors are considered very much important while communicating because if you are not a good listener, if you don't have an appropriate body language, the communication process might not be completed. There could be a misunderstanding, there could be miscommunication which can take place just because you don't have the right body language.